Carla just talking about the evaluation for my final major project, Unit 8. Just going to go through these bullet points, talk about what I've done, what things I could have done better, that sort of thing. So, effectiveness of research, what could have been better? Well, I only actually done secondary research using other people's primary research and also um, a focus group for my only primary research. Um, what could have been better is that doing one focus group and then analysing that, taking them back, um, showing them some more videos, the same people, asking different questions to sort of develop my ideas and what I want to present to, um, like what I want the audience to see and how I want them to feel, and I didn't do that, and I wish I did. Also, doing more primary research like qualitative and quantitative um, questionnaires would have helped a lot because that would have just shown me in straight up point blank detail what sort of ages, genders, um, what sort of class, and what kind of people watch horror films, and what would be the largest demographic to look at, and then aim my project towards that. I think that would have been better rather than doing just the focus group, which I did, and looking at secondary research. I think that held me back quite a bit and um, sort of made me look like I made things up on the spot. I think it would have been better to pretty much do mostly primary research. So all I remember doing. So that wasn't it. So secondary research. I didn't look at reviews. Online forums I looked at. Um, Survey results. Things like the target audience that I spoke about, and customer market category data I didn't look at. Category trends I didn't look at. I only done the focus groups, didn't do interviews. Um, Now I done to a point. I done social listening because I asked just classmates and families and friends about creepy pastas, and they didn't have anything to say. To be honest, none of them really. They heard of what they are. They don't know what they are, and they've never actually read them or listened to one. So I felt like going into that was a sort of a dead end because all I was going to hear was no, don't know sort of thing, and I wasn't going to get a fine answer. But then again, I would have found a gap in the audience, um, which I could have aimed towards, but I didn't. So that I definitely next time that I'm going to do with the questionnaires and surveys online. Um, so next I'm going to talk about methods used and missed opportunities. I think I spoke about that there um, quite a bit for my research. I literally just use the internet and then um, had a bit of a creative moment to do a focus group, and then got taken away and distracted by doing something else, and developing my idea rather than backing up what I wanted to show. So I think that was a really big that was a really big missed opportunity for myself and my project. So next time I'm gonna definitely try and not share my time around, but sort of get into a bit more planning. So I know what I'm doing, I know when I've got to do it, sort of thing. And I tried to show that in my calendar, but I'll be honest, I didn't really follow it. Um, so I think that's next time. That's what I'll definitely do better. So my final concept was in the end my original idea of the girl on the train, based on that creepypasta, and I looked at other things. Other people done the same story in their own way, and I felt like they didn't do it as well as I could have. But in the end, I can give the amount that they did, which I was very upset about due to that whole SD card thing. But I'm not going to go into that because you've probably heard enough about it. Um, Planning and what went well and what did not. Well, planning did go well at the start, and I had a full cast. I wasn't worried, and the days I was filming, and what I was filming, and where we was going to meet. And then things changed due to train companies not being able to help me. So that was sort of a constant last minute change, was the location, as well as cast changing nearer to the end, um, and due to just people dropping out on me, and then literally asking people a week before I needed to film. They're saying, "Yeah, we do it. Don't worry." And I made sure I'd back up to them, but they turned up, which was amazing. They've done really well. Um, but I'm very sad that I wasn't able to show everything that I got of them and their sort of like their participation within my project because of what happened. I think that's what I'm mostly upset about, and like I said, I won't go into that again. Um, what did not go well for my planning? Um, at the start, I would say the camera work that I was trying to achieve, because a lot of it I just can't do because I haven't got the equipment like so, um, or the location wasn't exactly how I wanted it. For things like I imagined a crane shot of a symmetrical stairway of Mia walking down the stairway and the crane starting up, not obviously as high as her on the stairway, but as she comes down, it sort of stays up there and then follows her around, and it stays above her like she's nothing, and it isolates her and makes her look small. And then when she goes to get on the train, the camera comes down and it's sitting above her. Look, so it's sitting pretty much on the floor, looking above at her within the train doorway, making the train look massive, like it was some sort of incredible being that has taken her and literally taken her to this nasty journey of what she's about to embark on, with the whole. But obviously that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to overemphasize the story, um, to make everything look twice as worse of what it is. Because when you think back to the story, it's not as gripping as someone can make it with a camera, or the way someone can talk about it. Say like a storyteller won't be able to, will only be able to read what's on the paper and maybe emphasize a little bit, but it's the imagination in someone's head which develops the story more than anything else. And I think that's what I wanted to achieve. I wanted to achieve the imagination in someone's head, but put on the screen. Um, but obviously, I couldn't do that because of equipment and locations, as someone had booked the crane out, but it still wouldn't have made sense because you have to go upstairs to get to the platform. And I think I was literally just trying to, in the end, make sure it's done, but use most things that I can. Use use the best camera angles and techniques that I can at that time of day with the small amount of equipment that I had, because I only had my Z grip, and I basically put that on my shoulder, and if it needed balancing, I stuck it on something, I lent it on things, and I had someone help me grab it or keep it up high. Um, so nothing else. I took nothing else on the train with me because obviously we didn't. Um, while I was doing my planning, I didn't actually have permission to film on the train, so it was sort of last. I wouldn't say last minute, but I said this is where we're meeting. This is what we're gonna do. That's how it's gonna go down. I paid for tickets, and no one batted an eyelid at us. They were just thought, so no one batted an eyelid at us, and we just got on with it, which was really good. Till what happened. So yeah, that's. I think that's the only thing that didn't go well was the fact that I couldn't get a distinctive location, um, or permission. Things that I wanted to achieve wasn't exactly how it could have been, and there's not much else to it, to be honest. So yeah, so that's what I didn't think go so well. Production, what went well and what didn't. Whole Now, apart from the ending on the way back from the train on the Sunday, the production went so well because we filmed on a Wednesday, Mia, Georgia, and I. Everything was done one take. It wasn't scripted. They knew exactly what they had to say. They've read the story. They knew what was going on. Because I wanted to have realistic reactions, and if something's written down, or like the way that someone says something is more realistic, because if it's something's written down, it limits their creativity and their imagination with how they're going to say it and what they're going to say. So if you tell them a brief line of what they need to say, then I think sometimes it can come out better, like it did at the end of that end of my piece. So I think that was the best idea for it. The whole time filming on the train was absolutely fantastic. Obviously, apart from to the end. I just used camera angles. There was no talking or anything. I felt comfortable with all of my actors, and hopefully my actors felt all felt comfortable with me. They done as I asked, and that sort of thing. But I think if it wasn't for this, it wasn't for the part where I lost the main part of my project, I'd like to think it was flawless the whole way through filming, and I would not like to think that to not planning as well and just taking a deep breath, sucking it up and getting on with it. I would definitely not. But I think because I didn't plan, I had lower expectations of things, and it went as well as it could have gone. So that's my production. So post-production, colour correction went well. It was very difficult to sort of get my head around at first, but I took a couple of YouTube videos and just followed them, and then I tampered around with it myself, and you can see that on my colour correction bit. It started taking quite a while to render. That was about it. It took about a day and a half to render and export, which was made me seriously run out of time, which I started getting worried about. But apart from that, that's about it. How do I feel with technical problems? How did I deal with technical problems? Well, I didn't smash anything up like I wanted to. The only technical problem I had was with the Sony voice recorder, and which brings me, I'm going to leave that management problems and go straight to the emotional problems. I was very upset, and even so was my cast at the end of the day, because everything that we've done was lost, and as much as we tried to get around um, filming it again, it never happened due to time. So I think going back to planning, getting a strong cast that's reliable and suitable for my next project, but letting them know earlier and having a bit longer for them to realise, oh, hang on a minute, in about 3 or 4 weeks we've got film with Ash, so make sure we don't do anything on that day. I think they all felt quite emotional about it as well. It was a very stressful train ride home for a lot of us, and I think if it wasn't for the support of them, all being quite close friends, I don't think it would have been. I think going back to technical problems, hopefully I wouldn't have had to buy a new Sony recorder. So yeah, do I think I met the brief? I think to a point I missed a lot of things out. Things like backing up and explaining research a lot more than I should have. Referencing, I pretty much got all my references from the original sources which I found while I was doing task one, because that's exactly what I wanted to know, exactly what I wanted to find. And maybe I went off course a little bit during the time of doing my research, and then thinking that it was relevant at the time, and then coming back to actually finishing my task 2, I decided to scrap it and not include it because, but I did mention it in my presentation, which I feel was irrelevant to my project. Although I was looking at camera work and cinematography, and then going on to my own journey to find people's different techniques that they use to recognise a cinematographer in different films, I feel it wasn't needed, so I didn't involve it. Maybe I should have, just to explain a bit more of my journey and what I went through during my research, and what I've learnt and how I could have used that in my production, but I didn't. So I think next time, any type of journey I'm going to talk about, explain, and then just put a reason if it is relevant to my project, or and how I'm going to put it in, or if it is irrelevant and how I'm not going to put it in, that sort of thing. So I think I'm just going to cover everything next time. Next assignment. So production, no, that's one bit. Clear outline of job role per demands. Working with others. Right, I have 2 videos for you to watch, and it is Charlie and Adam talking about working with me, and then my final evaluation of my presentation. So thank you for listening to my side of the evaluation. Here is Charlie's.